This is the base from what I believe is the most versatile, most customizable and most tunable air rifle on the market. And customizability is what we're going to talk about today. This is of course the base of the FX Impact we all know and love. Cleaning up my closet, moving the studio here, I realized there are so many parts for the FX Impact by third-party companies to create really your own FX Impact to make it fit your shooting style really awesome. So in this video, we're gonna go over all the possibilities you can change with parts from third-party companies. Of course, I just only have a grasp of those parts. I don't have everything that exists on the market. And in the meanwhile, I will build up a complete rifle with an idea with parts from different manufacturers to make something I had in my head. So, we got a lot to cover. Let's get started. So, the first thing you probably need to ask yourself is, what am I going to use my impact for? Do I going to keep it short? Do I going to make it bench rest model? Then you have the option to shoot between a 500, a 600, a 700mm barrel, or heck, even maybe a custom one like I have here. It's a pretty short one. I think it's just shy of 400mm. So, many barrel options to choose from for the application you need. If you want to go short, woods walker, maybe short pellet shooter, you can always opt for the 500. But if you want to go full bench rest mode, you can opt for the 700 or even the 800mm, like I have on the big boy right there. If you want to have something in between, you can always go for the 600. That's the beauty of the versatility of the FX Impact. Sorry. So, if you want to shoot pellets, you can choose either of these. You don't need to change anything. You will all be fine. No problems there. If you want to shoot slugs, you probably want to tend to the longer barrels, as the longer barrels give you a lot more flexibility and more ease to get those slugs up to speed. Not that you can't shoot any slugs out of a 500mm barrel, as long as you can make the velocity needed to fly them fast enough so they can be accurate and they have that momentum going with them. So I envisioned for this build a 25 caliber compact, so I will be choosing the 500mm barrel to shoot mostly pellets because this one is a full slug setup and I don't have really a pellet shooter anymore, so I want to make a compact fun gun to shoot pellets out with occasionally some slugs. So what I have done, the internals I have changed to the Yuma Air slug power kit, and then this one I have the FX slug power kit with the pellet probe giving me enough power out of the 25 to shoot some lighter 25 caliber slugs with a 500mm barrel. When I want to shoot the slugs, I can always opt to swap out that pellet probe for a pin probe and I'm good to go. So, let me install that barrel and I'll be right back. Let's talk a little bit about air supplies right now. We have sorted out the barrel, so you need to find yourself an air supply suits that to that envisioned build that you have in your head. We used to start out with those aluminum bottles. They were about 400 or 500 cc on the FX Royales. But these days we are blessed with some carbon fiber bottles and we have a wide variety to choose from. We have 300 cc's, we have 480, we have 580, and these days even 700 cc bottles are popping up. And with the right valve, you can of course boost them up to 300 bar and massive jump in shot count, of course. Also, something fun are these ones you see right here. Those are 170 cc aluminum tanks, probably from the Dreamline Compact, and you can also create some fun parts with it. Because companies like Saber Tactical, they make an adapter like this, which allows you to stack two bottles thanks to each other, and of course double your shot count with those bottles. So not so long ago I made a video of a very compact model with that custom barrel and with that big massive moderator, and I stacked two of these underneath, still keeping it quite compact and giving me enough shot count in order to get a lot of fun out of it. So, for this build, I will go with the 300cc carbon fiber one, as it will look very beautiful and nice and still give me a decent shot count in 25. Now, before I forget, of course, many of us have these bottles lying in our closet waiting for the day that we need them, and you always have to check at the back. There is an inspection date and those bottles need to be inspected every 5 years. So you need to go to your licensed scuba shop or whatever, so they can hydro test it and you're safe always have to be careful. These bottles still contain very high pressure air and we have to be safe with it. Always make sure there are no damaged, no cracks in them, because otherwise it could be very dangerous. Right, I'll be installing the 300cc carbon fiber tank and I'll be right back. So up until now it was more about versatility with choosing the barrel length you want and choosing the size of bottle you want to go with it. So now we can get into the customization part, as once we have decided on what we want to do. The first thing I want to add is of course a trigger guard with integrated accessory rail. That would be pretty awesome, and we have a whole wide variety to choose from. Many companies making this. I think it's one of the most wanted items for an FX Impact, to get a little bit more accessory rail. So this of course would be nice on my compact model. This is the original one that comes on your FX. It really looks neat. It's short, it's compact, as you can see right there. It is cool, but of course customizability, I want to change it a little bit. Now, if you have many different rifles and you just want to spend once, people like Saber Tactical, of course, they make something like this. It calls a universal clamp and it clamps on to any Picatinny part. So you can customize it just like this, still have the access to your Arca Swiss rail with a small Picatinny part at the front and a little cradle for your bottle. That would be option number one for you, of course. Talking about Saber Tactical, they also make a rail like I have on my big Impact right here, with a massive long Arca Swiss rail and the same Picatinny rail connection on the front. Integrated trigger guard with a nice opening to fill up your gun. Saber Tactical, now they have, I believe, also a rail that suits the new TRS top rail they have, so it looks more like one whole piece matching together. So Saber Tactical is your first option. Then let's go ahead, and I have other parts from a company called Crawford and Lipped. They also make a wide variety of accessory rails for the bottom with an integrated trigger guard. So let's start with the biggest one you see right here. It's a full Arca Swiss connection from the back to the front, with the additional slot in the bottom where you can add small Picatinny rails like this, for instance. Gives you the flexibility to mount whatever you want, or an extra Arca Swiss plate. I don't know why you would put Arca on Arca, but anyway, it gives you a lot of flexibilities between the accessory rail right there and the Arca Swiss. Also the look is pretty cool. Just have to make sure I'm not damaging anything. But as you can see on my build right here, this is way too long for the build that I have envisioned. So I could go for their other rail. It's a little bit shorter. Same here, but there is no Arca on the side built in, and you just have the accessory rail right there at the bottom. So you can also insert your Picatinny if you want, or you can insert your Arca and still have both connections to choose from, which is a very handy rail with a lot of flexibility and still have quite a compact look. Putting it on just like this, it would be able to fit really nicely with that 300cc bottle. If I see it now just like this, pretty cool. But they have one more little rail. Probably they have another ones by now, because these are rails I have already for quite a while. But I have this one, and this one is what I think I'm going to use. This is called the Zero Gravity Rail by Crawford and Lipped. It's a very tiny short rail. It's even shorter, I think, than the original one by FX, just by a hair. But it has an Arca connection all the way till almost at the back of the trigger guard right here. And it has that tiny slot where I can still slot in a tiny Picatinny just like this, and still mount a Picatinny bipod or whatever I fancy at that moment. Then if you're gonna look at it, I have to remove the dust cover for this. You see, this blends in nicely, and zero gravity means that I can use my tripod and put the connection of the tripod right in the middle under the trigger guard, giving me that perfect balance while I'm out in the field. No need for a bench, I can just take my tripod. Really cool, so I think I will go for that. Now there is one other company that I almost forgot that really went completely the other way. I want to do something different than everybody else, and of course I'm talking about Yuma Air. As you see here, this is a pretty sweet cool rail by Yuma Air with integrated handguard and an extended Picatinny rail at the bottom, giving you the flexibility to mount your bipod just like the other ones, way out forward. But for this build, sadly enough, it's a little bit too big. As you see, it comes further than my 300cc carbon fiber bottle, so I will be using this for another build in the future. So as for now, I'll be going with the Zero Gravity from Crawford and Lipped. So with that bottom accessory rail sorted, it's now time for another very important part of our FX impact. And that is the top rail or the scope rail. It is the only connection where you mount your scope to your rifle. And a good rail that suits the application you're shooting for, and a good alignment of that rail is very crucial to get perfect accuracy downrange. Again, here we have a wide variety to choose from, and the first one we'll have a look at is the original one, you know, of course. The original one a few years back, or 1 or 2 years back, since the Mark II, I believe, they have incorporated a 20 MOA into that rail, which makes a nice look, and that's the look that we all know from the FX Impact. Then we have companies like Crawford and Lipped, for instance. Let's move to them. They make this one you see right here. It also creates a very nice look, just like this. And the extra advantage of this rail, this is the range extender, I believe it calls. It has some accessory slots down the sides where you can slot in those tiny Picatinny rails or Arca rails to mount some extra accessories. Something else it has, you can see that scope rail can tilt, and that part, if I unscrew it, can move forward and fits into one of those notches and then give you a certain elevation at every notch, which is pretty cool, a very nice rail, and you eliminate the need of some adjustable scope rings. So that's the first one by Crawford and Lipped. Now they also make, I believe, version 2 of this one with a bubble level at the back, same as you have with that Sabre Tactical rail at the back. So I believe this one, in its full opposition, has about a massive 120 MOA elevation you can reach there. And they also create now, I believe it calls a Giga rail. I'll insert a picture of it. This I don't have, but that creates a very nice long rail with a lot of room to mount even an overbore bipod or whatever it suits you. Moving on to the second one, you have the TRS rail by Sabre Tactical. And the TRS rail is a very cool rail as well. As you can see, it looks very tactical and it has a few advantages as well. For instance, it has a small keyway slotted in, so it fits nicely over your rail, and it eliminates the left to right movement that you have to be very careful with the original one. If you put it a little bit to the side, of course your scope is aiming like this and you need a lot of windage correction to overcome that. So pretty cool look. It would even look nice on my compact. If I put the shroud, probably the shroud will come just to the end of that rail. Some other advantages, it has a 20 MOA built into it, so perfect for long range conditions. As you can see, I have it on my big one right here. That's the full size TRS rail. It has a bubble level at the back, and I don't have it right here with me, but they also have a shroud clamp to keep your barrel nicely fixed to that rail, so everything is perfectly aligned, shooting nice in one straight line. The TRS rail by Sabre Tactical, very cool. Then the one that I will be installing, I will leave to the end. So we're going to move to the one from Yuma Air, which is also a very cool one. It is an extended version from the original one. As you can see, it is quite longer at the front, giving you a lot more room for accessory rails like this. But the beauty of this one is the 30 MOA that is built into it, and it has a one-piece machined clamp for your barrel, which also comes with a barrel tensioning kit that fits underneath just like this, and with the screw at the front you can tension your barrel. So this is actually a rail that is 2-in-1. It gives you another rail with a very important keyway to make sure you cannot misalign your scope rail on your scope, and it also has that barrel tensioning system. So a 2-in-1 rail really cool from Yuma Air. I've installed all of them at least one time on one of my setups, but the new one that recently came to market is called by a company, the backbone rail called by the company Air Marksman, and that is this one you see right here. Now, what is special about this one? It completely changes the top rail of your FX Impact and replaces it with this nice big block of aluminum, and it will fit probably just like this. It also has a 30 MOA machined into that scope rail, and that scope rail is one piece together with that complete backbone, stiffening up your rifle and having that scope rail perfectly in line, unless their CNC machine is off, but I don't think that will be the case. So everything will be nice and perfectly in line, nicely firming up that FX Impact a little bit and giving you a very nice rail as well. These come in 3 sizes. This is the short one, you have a medium one, and you also have a long one, which gives you a lot more room at the front to mount the overboard bipod, night vision, whatever you suits or whatever fancies you. Another nice feature, and that's mostly for the PRS shooters, is that small, how do you call it, ball bearing at the back. So when you cock your impact, this small ball bearing keeps your bolt open, and this is especially for PRS shooters who are transitioning between stages. You don't want that bolt to fall close and already push a pellet or a slug halfway into your barrel and maybe causing a double feed or messing up your stage at that point. So I'll be installing this one. There are many varieties, as you can see, for you to choose from. You have long rails, short rails, 30 MOA, 20 MOA, whatever you want, whatever suits you, go ahead. So I'll be installing the backbone and I'll be right back. So, getting a grip on your rifle is very important. Grips can also alter the way how you hold your impact, how the way you shoot it. It can also make maybe a better feel for it. And we are lucky because the FX Impact is suited or is machined with an AR-15 connection, which gives us the possibility to mount a wide variety of options. You can go with the original one from FX, simple AR-15 with some nice finger holds, probably very suited for most of you, and a real cool grip as well. You can go for other ones that are a little bit more stippled and have a little bit more palm swell in the middle. This one is something in between. It's good for in the field when you want to have a good grip on your rifle, just like this. You can even have one with a bigger palm swell. This one right here has a very big palm swell. I really like it when I shoot at the bench. That big palm swell keeps my hand a little bit to the side and I don't have to fight the can so much. So that big palm swell really helps me for the bench setup. This one is made by Ergo Grip. They have a phenomenal line. They also have ones with a zero angle that goes straight down. Some people prefer that. I believe companies like Saber Tactical, for instance, they just came out, or they're going to come out with a very nice aluminum one with a thumb rest on the end. And I can't name all of them, as the AR-15 platform is probably the most versatile or open one to find the grip that suits you the best. Maybe you want to go a little bit with a color splash to create a real custom look for yourself, and you can go with some color laminate, for instance. Yuma Air has a few sets with nice color grips, but there are so many grips out there. So choose the one that is right for you, choose the one that gives you a great feeling, and it's often overlooked how much a good grip on your FX Impact can do. So I'll be going for the stippled one with a little palm swell from Hoke. Now, a good cheek rest is very important to get a perfect alignment from your eyesight through the scope onto that reticle. And to have a good eyesight, meaning you have a relaxed position on your scope, on your gun, looking through your scope, which will greatly benefit in the accuracy department. So, good cheek rest is very important on your gun as well. In some cases, when you're using some higher scope mounts or some adjustable scope mounts, I often see people forcing their chin up like this, or like maneuvering to see if they get it into the right position, and all this compromises your hold while you're shooting and of course affects your accuracy as well. So what you want is a nice relaxed position. Every time you put your chin down, your eye is perfectly aligned with that reticle. Some people can just achieve it just like this. I don't have really a need for a cheek riser, but some people maybe smaller or bigger people, or when you use those higher scope rings, you need to have that adjustability. So companies like Sabre Tactical, and I'll link a few other ones, make a cheek riser to put underneath your original cheek piece, and this can allow you, in order to cant it even a little bit forward, backwards, it can adjust it up or down, and of course you can lock it down to get that perfect alignment through your scope. Now, in the case of this build, I really don't have a need for it, as the backbone from Air Marksman already has quite a raised part to it, so I can just go ahead and install my original cheek piece to it. Right, up to the next part. And just like this, we're almost at the back of the rifle, and something very important is that buttstock. That's the position that makes contact with your shoulder and has to feel comfortable, same as with the grip. The way your shoulder interacts with your gun into the shoulder pad is quite important. So we all know this one, that's the original one that comes with your FX Impact. It's quite basic, but it looks pretty cool with these tactical openings at the back. Also, it gives a mediocre level of comfort into your shoulder, not too bad. I actually quite am a fan of this if you want to keep it light and easy and simple, of course. But then there are other companies, like for instance Crawford & Lipped and Sabre Tactical, who make some full-on buttstocks or butt pads that have loads of options and loads of possibilities. And the one I have right here, and that I've also installed on my big FX Impact, is the one from Sabre Tactical, which is a pretty cool one, and it has a lot of features built into it. You have the way of the flexibility to adjust that back part. It has those nice rubber feelings that fits nicely into your shoulder to absorb a little bit of that recoil. And you might say recoil on an air gun, that's not a big deal, but when you move on to the 35 caliber ones, they do kick quite a little bit, and it's nice to have this instead of a metal plate or some hard plastic into your shoulder. Another nice advantage they have, I don't know if it's easy to do, just like this, opening it up, it has the ability of sliding backwards, making it the length of pull a little bit longer or shorter, exactly to what you need as a shooter, and really very suitable for the bench as well. You can mount even a small attachment to the side to allow these big bench pods with those knobs to swivel your gun from left to right, up and down. A really nice accessory with some magnets, pretty strong magnets as well. So pretty nice offering from Sabre Tactical to customize the back part to really suit your shoulder as well. In combination with this, you can also go for a bag rider, and the bag rider just looks like this, fits underneath into the grip just like this, like so, and then together with that Sabre Tactical back part makes a pretty cool look. And that bag rider, it's like the name it says, you can put your bag underneath. When you slide it a bit more backwards, your gun goes up. When you slide it forwards, the gun goes down, and you have a little bit more control at the bench. So you can choose between the bag rider or the monopod. As you see on the big one, I prefer the monopod and don't have this metal underneath. But maybe when you're out in the field or for a woods walker or for a hunter, you might prefer this one as well. Now, as I mentioned, Crawford & Lipped also makes a very nice one. They have one specially dedicated for the bench setup with a monopod that goes down. And then they have one a little bit more simple at the back, also adjustable in length of pull, in height, but they have this really nice bag rider underneath, really cool. Maybe one day I will get my hands on one and put it on one of my rifles as well, because I really find the look of the Crawford & Lipped one as well pretty cool. Right, so for this one I will go for the lightweight, simple one, as I want to keep everything lightweight, compact, short, so I'll go for the original one by FX. I know it's not really that excited, but for the build that I'm after, I want to keep that one into place. Now, something often very overlooked is the upgrade of the cocking handle. Or maybe just to add a little bit of bling to your impact and really make it your own, to stand out between the whole lineup of impacts, that so you can see this one is really mine, or just whatever you want to do. In the very beginning, the FX Impact had this very skinny, small cocking handle to the side. Let me just put it on just like this. It was functional, but very quickly people started making their own. So Yuma Air, for instance, came out with a few bigger ones, like this, a little bit more tactical with those holes inside. They also make a very bigger one that's a little bit more knurled, because the functional part of your cocking handle can be, of course, when you're out in the woods, you're maybe in the cold, you're wearing gloves, and that tiny skinny cocking handle doesn't really do it for you. So with the bigger ones you can also have a better grip on that, of course. The standard M3s come with this one. It's a bigger, a little bit more massive one, but it has quite the same diameter as this one. Maybe you want a little bit longer one to reach down, so it's easier for you to grab, maybe for some speed shooting, whatever. The cocking handle and its functional part, upgrading, often overlooked, but as important as all the rest. Maybe the bling part, if you want to just add a little bit of bling. I've seen Ernest Rowe creating some with carbon fiber, with anodized, with titanium, pretty cool ones as well. So if you want to check those out, I believe they are available. How does this channel call? 910 Airgun Repairs and Tuning or something? I believe they are selling from time to time some custom-made cocking handles by Ernest Rowe as well. I'll be putting on this tactical one from Yuma Air, which will create a really cool look. Now let's talk a little bit about the front end of our rifle. As everything comes along nicely together and I'm really starting to like the look of it, the front is lacking a little bit of that as well. So in order to put something over that skinny barrel that we see right here, I've opted in the same spirit as customization. I customized myself a small carbon fiber shroud to put over that barrel. I also made sure I could use that conical part instead of the one with the flat edge, in order to nice incorporate with this. Now this of course can't go all the way to the back, and that's why I also made myself a small adapter ring that will fit over it just like this, and creating already a much better look, as you could see. By adding this carbon fiber shroud on the end, it also gives me access to that 1.5 UNF that I really like to use in the later on. Of course, the carbon fiber shroud, or just a shroud with a 1.5 UNF connection, is your first option, but your FX also has this, of course, and that's their harmonic barrel tuners. It does work with pellets. I really have tested it myself. Some people are skeptical about it, but the harmonic barrel tuner, I really like to use it sometimes when I'm building a big pellet shooter, mostly with a 700mm barrel, but this is a good option as well for you. But I'm gonna go with the compact look, and I don't want to have this massive weight on the end, so because I want to keep all the balance of the rifle more or less into the middle, it gives me access to that 1.5 UNF. To put on that, we all know, we as air gunners, we like to use many of our moderators to just add some bling to the end of our rifle, because some of them, frankly said, they really look good, and therefore we have a few different manufacturers to choose from. Go ahead, I'm not going to name all of them, there are many out of there. This one is probably one of my favorite ones, especially for this build. And that is the Donny Fatboy 2.0. Really cool, and it really ties up the whole assembly together. But maybe you're in a country and you're not allowed to use some moderators, or maybe for some practical reasons you can't use moderators. You can just use it, of course, without. But companies like, for instance, Eagle Vision, they also create some muzzle brakes. Muzzle brakes do more or less the same as a moderator, except for quietening everything down. It's just as loud as without the moderator, but it strips the air that comes out of the barrel behind your slug or pellet and removes it. It also reduces the flip up of your muzzle when you're shooting, especially in those higher calibers. The cool thing about the muzzle brakes of Eagle Vision is that you can replace those front parts. Those are caliber interchangeable, so you don't need to buy different ones for different calibers, just as the Fatboy that I have there on the front. You can change it from caliber, pretty cool. And at the back you have also an insert that can be interchanged. Here, put a little bit of lubrication, can be interchanged to use on different thread pitches. This, for instance, is in a 1.5 UNF, and also it can be used with an M14, with another insert, whatever. You can put it there, And once you screw it on and you find your orientation, this stays on your barrel. You can rotate the muzzle brake just like this, and when you find the straight orientation, you can tighten it down with those 4 little grub screws, making sure every time you put it on, it's in exactly the right orientation. So the look with this muzzle brake is just like this, which also creates a really cool tactical look for my compact setup. Really cool. And that you can do as much as you want. The front end, you can completely customize it to your needs, to your likings. And then with that front end sorted and everything in place, the only thing I'm missing is a good optic on my rifle in order to get a beautiful side picture. And for that I'll be choosing for the Element Optics Helix. It is the 4x16 by 44. It's a little bit more slimmer at the front, it's a little bit more compact, and I think it will suit this setup really well. In order to mount it, you of course need some good scope rings, and again there you have a lot of customizability or a lot of choice for what kind of item you put on top of it. Of course, one of my main ones that I like is Eagle Vision, just because they have an height and elevation or adjustability, so you can cant your rifle. They have different sizes, you can mount different accessories to the sides of your Eagle Vision ones, you can put some accessory rails for some flashlights, whatever. Really cool scope rings to go with a setup like a bigger one or whatever you need. But for this case I will go for the Element Optics scope rings. Pretty cool, they come in 3 sizes, low, medium and high, and so together with that backbone rail and the height of my cheek riser and everything, I can exactly line it up with my eye and my comfortable shooting position, so the reticle is really perfectly in line with my eyesight. And therefore I'll be going probably for the medium ones to go with this rifle. So scope rings, very important. You can also go with the ones that I have like there on my big rifle. These are the ones from Spur with some quick releases, very expensive scope rings, but good scope rings are very important as well. And so guys, my creation is done. Pretty cool build, if I say so myself. I'm really digging it. Compact, nice little stalker and a pellet shooter, of course. Really cool. Now all the items I've shown through the video is just a small handful of everything what is available on the market. So there is a lot more out there for you to discover. So go ahead, browse your favorite stores and see what suits you and how you want to build your impact. Saying that, please leave a comment in the comment section down below with maybe your favorite item, your favorite build, so we can discuss about it, see maybe I get some ideas from you guys to build a future rifle as well. Looking around, of course, these were just bolt-on items and the most easy way to customize your impact. But there are shops like the custom shop from Utah Airguns, for instance. They Cerakote different parts with different patterns and stuff. Really cool, so go check them out as well. Maybe one day I will own one of those creations as well, which are really cool in my opinion. That brings me to the end of the video. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, so we can really grow this channel a lot bigger and I can keep bringing you this content. I thank you for watching and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.